This is ESPN, the entertainment.
From the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, ESPN presents the World Frisbee Championships. Brought to you by Natural Light Beer. Taste is why you'll switch to Natural Light. Hi, everyone. I'm Lynn Shackelford, and along with me is Fred Miller. Fred, former football player, college administrator, college coach, also a master in the senior Frisbee competition. Now, Fred's going to be talking and helping describe what is called guts today in Frisbee competition. There's all different kinds, but guts is perhaps the most violent, actually.
It's a very crowd-pleasing event. They sit 15 yards apart, and they throw that thing as hard as they possibly can at speeds in excess of 70 miles an hour. They catch, they bounce it up in the air, they dive for it. It's a very exciting event. While we say it's a very aggressive event, very few injuries take place in guts, and yet still I think the crowd and the people that have not seen this kind of event will get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
They're all different kinds of competition in Frisbee, but usually the best players overlap, and we'll see some of the very best Frisbee players in the world in the guts. We'll meet one of them and talk about it right after this. With me right now is Joe Youngman, Mr. Backhand. He's going to play on a Guts All-Star team today. It's kind of an exhibition here in the Rose Bowl. They'll be playing against the world champions, the Foothill team, which is actually a local team here in the foothills of Pasadena area. Now, Joe, I said you're Mr. Backhand. That's one of the ways you can throw it. Now, we're only talking about 14 meters, so it can be thrown pretty hard in that distance.
Yeah, they've been timed to radar at about 76 miles an hour. That's the fastest they've been timed at, and backhand, it was the fastest throw of some of the backhands.
Okay, what's the backhand? How does that look?
You grip it like this, and you're throwing pretty much like a backhand tennis motion, only you're throwing a disc instead of swinging a racket. Then there's other deliveries. There's a thumber, which is a forehand delivery. That's one of the most effective. It doesn't go quite as fast, but it'll take about a 3-foot dip as it's coming at you, and it makes it much, much harder to catch.
Okay, now there's 5 guys on each side. They line up, and you can only catch it with one hand. That's the tricky part.
Yeah, it's definitely. People starting out, anybody can have a good throw if you just got a good arm, but catching it just takes talent and an awful lot of practice, and some people still never get very good at it. But the idea is just catching it with one hand. It can be tipped back and forth between 2 hands, or tipped back and forth between 2 players, but just has to touch only one part of one person's body at a time.
Okay, this is Joe Youngman. He's going to be playing on the All-Star team. They're going to be going against the Foothill team in just a minute. I'm Lynn Shackelford. Let's go back up to Fred Miller.
Lynn, we're picking up the exhibition match in progress between the All-Stars and the Foothills team. The game is going to 21 points. We have a 12-8 score right now.
And speaking of Fred Miller, there's Van Miller. He's with the All-Stars there in the gray shirt. And, of course, they're playing against the Foothill team. They're down the other way, 15 yards down, if you like, in the yellow. Now, if he throws it over the arm extended length or higher, then it's a bad throw, but it looked like he threw it right through him.
Yeah, he ripped through the receiver's hand, scored a point for the All-Stars. All-Stars are staying tight in this game. And, of course, the Foothill team, they know how to go ahead and bounce that baby up and continue to scramble for it.
There, that throw was with a little bit of drop by Foothill. And that's exactly what the All-Stars did, was they dropped it. So it's a point for Foothill.
13 points to 9.
Let's look at that one more time.
You're going to see a throw here. It appeared to be a thumber where the disc itself drops. Now the teams are changing sides, so the wind factor is neutralized. They changed an cumulative 7 points. We have a 13-9 score, Foothill on top in a 21-point game.
Win by 2. Guts is a sport that is probably more popular in the Midwest part of the United States than anywhere. Now there's going to be a bad throw, and that was a bad one by Joe Youngman, who we just chatted with. I guess I'm not going to call him Mr. Backhand anymore after that.
Well, actually, he threw a forehand that time.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
He's got such a vicious backhand. And when Joe said they travel those speeds of excess of 70 miles an hour, that's been disputed. Some players say that they're up into the 90-mile class. I'll tell you what, I'm glad we're up here, though, Lynn. That disc comes, it comes in a hurry.
Al Bonapane.
Right into Joe's hand. Out.
That's going to be a point for Foothill. Joe Bonapane just threw that. Let's see what Foothill did with it.
When that disc comes, it's strictly a reaction.
Remember, you got to catch it with one hand. Of course, you don't have to catch it. You can just bounce it up in the air, and then one of your teammates can catch it with one hand.
But you cannot trap it. The last exchange, we saw the All-Stars pick up a point because the bounce was there, but the bounce went back, and no one could recover the second catch.
There is in Frisbee competition, individual competition. There's team competition. Obviously, guts is one of the big ones, and as I said, more popular probably in the Midwest than any other part of the country.
This is Scott Zimmerman making the throw, and of course it was caught. Now Scott was the all-around champion this year. Fine catch that time. It appeared to be Joe Youngman. And you can see the velocity that Scott Zimmerman gets on the throw. But the Frisbee came straight in. It didn't dance at all. One bounce up and a clean second grab, which is permissible in the rules.
Great work that time by Joe Youngman. And it'll be the captain, Joe Youngman, who we just talked to. Let's see if he uses forehand or backhand this time.
Up for the throw, sidearm high.
Went with the forehand sidearm toss.
Now the sidearm does rise. And of course, when you're on the receiving end of those 70 or 80 or 90 mile, take your own pick of the speed. When that thing's rising, it's difficult to catch. They have a throw called the thumber also, which drops down about 3 feet, as Joe explained in the earlier interview.
As you can see, Foothill is leading, and well, they should. They're defending champions from 1980 and from 1979.
Score now stands at 15-12.
Scott Zimmerman throwing it that time.
16 points. Throw Foothill doing another one right through.
And that just ripped right through. You get a chance to see. Here comes the replay, end on camera. Scott, just a magnificent athlete.
Remember,
now you can see it dance.
Just 14 meters or 15 yards to that line where the opponents are waiting.
You know, one word about Scott Zimmerman. The fact that he's won 3 out of the 4 last all-around just explains what a fine athlete he is. And of course, he's the next Mr. Frisbee. He's only, what, 20, 21?
Yeah, he's very young. Does it full time. Actually makes a living out of it, traveling around representing the sport of Frisbee. And the 5 players now, they stand 1 arm's length away from each other. Those are basically your boundaries. They can go back as far as they want, the thrower, to run up there and wind up.
Charlie Duvall is one of the fine Frisbee players you see in the entire competition.
18 points.
Okay, as we watch it again, Foothill's gone up now with 18 points. You spread out a little bit, you try to deflect it up and then spread out, and hopefully one of your teammates can catch it. Really, you only use one hand.
Part of the strategy is for the in players to bounce back in and try and pick up the deflection. And of course, Joe, using that rising throw, twisting sidearm of his, scores another point for the All-Stars.
Tom Monroe, our spotter up here, who is also the world champion in the TRC throw, run, and catch competition at 90 yards. He tells me that Joe Youngman's really one of the fine players in the United States.
Herb Caleb up to the line. Here's the throw. Right in there, please.
Oh, there's a catch for you. For the All-Stars.
Some players wear gloves, and that's on the side of wisdom.
That was caught by Tommy Bicklund, who was on the Swedish national team. And remember, this is the World Frisbee Championship. Several countries here competing. And in this all-star demonstration, they took Tommy from the Swedish national team.
See how the end players cave to the rear to pick up the deflection, but the catch was clean. Al Boniface made the catch, and now he's making the throw. It was a thumber that was short, and a point now scored for the All-Stars.
So they've got 14, but they still trail the Foothill champs. And everybody says it goes over 70 miles an hour. We've had also reports that Frisbee can go over 90 miles an hour in that little 15-foot space when it's thrown.
That's speed.
And the All-Stars get themselves another point. Tim Selinski in there as a substitute made that fine throw.
Nice throw, Ski.
Still got that big knee brace on, but he can still throw it, can he?
That he can.
15 points for the All-Stars. team switch sides.
Again, this is one of those self-officiated events, and they have a situation called optimum effort, and you must be able to reach just at your arm's reach to go ahead and pick up that disc.
We'll be back with more guts competition here on ESPN right after this. Back here at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, Lynn Shackelford along with Fred Miller. We're watching a guts demonstration, one of the many sports or kinds of competition in the sport of Frisbee.
Puts the throw directly into Albie's hand, Allison.
A great catch that time right there by the Foothill team, Al Bonapane. And therefore there is no score for the All-Stars.
Score is currently 19-15 in favor of the Foothill team in a 21-point game. Fine catch by Boniface.
Okay, so Foothill again, rather the All-Stars prevent that score.
No point.
Andy Lehman was the man who made that catch. So now they will go on the offense and they will try to score if they can throw it through that team or at least to the point where they can't catch it.
Andy Lehman throws what Steve McLean.
Steve McLean makes a fine catch for the Foothill team. Let's see it again.
Back in the direction of the All-Stars.
On the defense, the end players will sag back to take care of the bounce. Must be a one-hand clean grab.
Steve McLean puts a burning
Took it all
cover
by
into the
himself.
line. No chance
McLean
of
goes
catching that
back.
one.
He
Joe
makes the
O'Malley
throw,
collects
and the All-Stars
point.
cannot handle it.
Foothill bringing us to a game
The
point
disc cannot
situation. 20 points
rotate
for
more than
Foothill.
vertical,
15 points
or
for
it
the
cannot go
WFC
upwards of 90 degrees.
All-Star Guts team.
And again, the defensive team can make their own call there.
The All-Stars now looking for a point here.
Andy Lemon for the All-Stars.
Andy Lemon throws it, but it is caught. Good teamwork by the Foothill All-Stars, and now we're at game point, so the All-Stars, or the Foothill team, can win it right here.
One more time.
Here you see the block. The disc is up in the air. The end players are sagging. Easy pickup.
He puts the throw
There's
in.
game
It's
point,
deflected.
but
Tim
the
Selinski pulls
All-Stars
it down.
hold on.
Game is not over. Ski now with the disc.
15-20 at this point, Lynn.
Tim Selinski there with the knee brace. He was the one that made the
Tim
save,
Selinski.
and he'll make the throw. Of course, they not only need to score, but they need to hold the other way defensively.
Ski up to the line, burns one over Foothill's toes, scores a point for the All-Stars.
Okay, a good legal throw by Tim Selinski, so it's a point for the All-Stars. However, once again, it's game point for Foothill. They can win it right here.
Substitutions on the All-Star line. We have
Put in the
Miller,
yellow,
Youngman,
you look at the
Lemon,
All-Stars
O'Malley,
in the gray.
Nicklin. Steve McLean with the disc. Puts it in the line, it's starting, oh, it's down, and that's the game.
McLean makes a good throw. The All-Stars can't handle it, so that is the game in the guts demonstration. The Foothill All-Stars, as expected, winning it. Let's look at one more time at that last point. All-Stars, I thought, might have it there, Fred.
They're looking for the bounce, and then it just fell right in between. We had a second bounce there, but the bounce didn't get up in the air enough, and the game is over. You can see why Foothill team is truly the national champion.
Okay, as we said, and there's Van Miller, the son of my working partner here, Fred Miller. He was playing with the All-Stars. As we said, guts competition, just one of the many different things that you can do with the Frisbee. As we look at the All-Star, the final score, the Foothill team, champions in 1980 and 1979, as expected in this demonstration, won the game against some highly skilled All-Stars that were playing together, perhaps for the first time in many cases. We're at the Rose Bowl here in California, where we've had a lot of different events today, guts being a real team sport, of course, and it is popular throughout the United States, but more popular perhaps in the Midwest than anywhere else. We'll be coming back here to the Rose Bowl on ESPN right after this.
The 1981 Guts Championships won by the Foothill team, 21-16.